everybody, how's it going? It's asieloshunyeyeo with another video for all of you here on YouTube. This is going to be a very interesting video, or well, I don't know how interesting, but you know, it is what it is. It's a video on soperas and the styles and what you should think about when you're purchasing soperas. Okay? Before we begin, we shall remind the public, mamas, gals, boys, girls, olochas, witches, and everybody else in the middle, that my first book is already out, Expansion of the Bodum, and you, viewer, need to get yourself a copy of this book. This is going to enlighten you on the path of Orisha, the deities, and many other things. Book number 2 is coming out soon. But please remember, Expansion of the Bodum by asieloshunyeyeo. Yours truly. Okay, so we're gonna talk about soperas really quickly, okay, and we're going to kind of go over kind of different things, the styles and things like that. Okay, so soperas wise, let it be known that back in the days, and I mean back in the time of slaves and back in Africa, etc. too, a lot of gourds is what was used to keep the implements of the Orisha. Besides that, there's also wooden carvings and things like that that would be used, and things like calabashes that are still used nowadays in Africa, precisely, that are sacred calabashes and sacred vessels and things that they still use today. Slowly in Cuba, it also went, soperas went from, orishas went from being kept in jicaras, any things like this that they had in Cuba, to being kept in terracotta. Okay, this is a terracotta, it's painted pink, but it's terracotta. So they went from jicaras to terracotta, and then eventually they went into things like porcelain and things like brass. Okay, so the Orishas have definitely traveled through a lot of things or vessels, and their implements and their fundamento has been kept in different vessels throughout the ages. Now, nowadays, in the year 2022, this is what I'm recording this, so we'll see what year you see this video later on. But by nowadays, Orisha is kept in all sorts of vessels, depending on the person and or depending on the Orisha. Okay, when you go to botanicas, you definitely see a repetitive style of mass-produced soperas, which are very beautiful and very pretty, some of them, and some of them are just, you know, overpriced, etc., etc. I am the person that I am definitely of the belief that the best soperas you're ever going to find is going to be at thrift stores, flea markets, garage sales, antique stores, and some department stores that there's one that sells a lot of good things for the house, if you know what I mean, that they know that there's a market for soperas and vessels, so they always come up with beautiful things to put out, and you know, of this type of style, sopera, etc. So just be aware that the Orishas can live in different things, and they have lived in different things, and then that leads us to nowadays. Okay, when you are searching for a sopera, what you want to do is always match the color of the sopera to the deity, to the Orisha is going to live. That's number one. For example, this sopera is beautiful and spectacular for an ochun, maybe even for olokun. It could even be used for shumari. It could even be used for ingle, okay, based on its colors and all the things that it has. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece. I hope you guys can appreciate it. This sopera I've had for a little bit, but I'm definitely going to be using her for something in particular. But when you're looking for something, you have to also make sure that the mouth of the sopera is wide enough. This is the easiest thing, for your hand to fit in there, so you can put things in and pull things out when need be, when a ceremony is happening. If you're looking for, when you're looking for a sopera, whatever style that you're using, the main thing is always going to be the mouth for everything, so that the fundamento as a whole can fit in, and so you can pull things in and out. Now, when you're using little soperitas, like this one, she's a little dusty because I just pulled her out. Okay, when you're using little soperitas like this is also perfectly appropriate. This is also kind of more appropriate for like Orishas de Dimu, okay, ochas that you receive after your cariocha. And you can just request to have all your stuff small. It will depend obviously on the Orisha that's living inside and what they take. Okay, so looking at the color, the patterns, and the size of the sopera. Okay, this will be kind of like a medium style sopera, whereas this will be a smaller style of sopera. And then you can find trophy soperas that are really big, and things that are human life size, etc., etc. When you have large soperas, they are a little harder sometimes to maneuver. So you have to be a lot more careful with them than when you have smaller soperas that are a lot more manageable. This one hasn't been used, but this is a beauty. This is just a beauty waiting to be used. She has already someone that's going in there, but I haven't received it yet. But when you're looking for your vessels, okay, it is always also good to start off small with smaller vessels. And then with the years, you get larger vessels depending on what's happening. Sometimes people get into cariocha already with a whole bunch of big soperas, and that's not always the best way to go. Okay, I definitely like smaller soperas now because I went through a sopera size phase that I was like, I just want really large and beautiful and stuff and whatever, and they do take space in your bodung. So just be aware that the more dishes you have, medium size to small soperas are always going to be better than gigantically large soperas. But we all definitely at some point end up purchasing something gigantic. Okay, anyways, remember the color of the orisha should be reflected on the sopera. Or soperas, can have different patterns, different styles, different whatever. It doesn't matter, but everything should definitely match. Something yellowish, something nice, something bluish, etc. for, Yemaya or for Ochun or for whomever. For example, again, this sopera will be perfect for anything that has to do with Ochun or for Ochun herself. Whereas something like this may be nice and good for Yemaya or whatever else. Maybe even an inle can go in here too. Whereas something with these colors, if you can see, will be perfect for Oya. Although I would prefer if this was bigger, in a bigger size for Oya. But for something that has to do with Oya, it will be just fine. Okay? So the color of the sopera is important. And then the next thing is the mouth of the sopera. Okay, soperas can be flat, they can be large, they can be skinny. They have many different styles, and I will post up some different pictures of some of my own personal soperas and some other random soperas so you guys can see what I mean. Okay, it is up to you what style of sopera you have. Okay, antique stores always have a good assortment of beautiful vessels and things with lids that can definitely be used as a sopera. If you don't know, you should always ask your elder when you find a beautiful treasure, and you should always keep it and save it. Trust me, I have tons of them saved up. These are just some of the ones that I pulled out. Pardon my profusely sweating. I am in my garage making this video. Anyways, soperas definitely are an expression of the priest or the priestess, and you will definitely see how beautiful an Igbodun looks with different styles of soperas and different beautiful things that are acquired with throughout the years of priesthood of the person. Okay, a lot of the times with the first soperas that you start with, or now the soperas that your ochas are going to live in their entire lifetime. So just be aware that sometimes soperas are inherited. I have one that in particular that I inherited from someone, and that that has had three ochuns, head ochuns, like batori ochuns live in it, and it's just such a beautiful, simple sopera, and I cherish it with all my heart. It is spectacular. It's a beautiful, spectacular sopera. But anyways, soperas do have a trajectory until they're no longer used. Depending on the person, again, will be your style. As long as the sopera resembles something with the deity or with the orisha that's going to live in it, it can be used. It can be any type of vessels. And by now, again, we use all sorts of materials, all sorts of metals, all sorts of everything. When you go into every Olocha's house, you're going to see a very different style of sopera. And you're going to see people using all sorts of things to keep their orishas in, okay? Orisha definitely, I feel, has, gotten a taste for better, more beautiful homes. So they definitely always, even ask for some new soperas at certain points, or a new home for them to be in, which will also reflect in the lifestyle of the person. Anyways, shopping for soperas. If you do shopping for soperas online, always read the dimensions. And if you don't know the dimensions, people, go ahead and find a ruler or a measuring tape and then figure it out. Okay, because sometimes online you will definitely see a picture of the sopera, and when you get it in the house, it'll be a tiny little soperita like this that they took a very up close picture of. So always read the dimensions online and make sure that it is worthy of the orisha that you are receiving. For example, I'll be right back with that example. Okay, for example, a sopera like this, this size soperita, okay, which is a little brass soperita, this may be perfect, it's got a little thing there, may be perfect for someone's ideu, but this style of sopera is not precisely perfect for someone's ochun, whereas something like this is a lot more fine for ochun than something like this. But this is fine definitely for ideu, for example, or a smaller orisha that has to do with ochun, like, kayode, oromiyaye, ibu, whomever. Someone else that has to do with ochun can definitely go into a small sopera. But ochun would definitely, it would be nice to have her in a bit larger sopera. Even this would be perfect for an ochun rather than something this size. Okay, so certain orishas, you have to always think about the orisha that you are getting, that you're about to receive. Think about the color, think about the size of the mouth, and then go from that point forward. And always ask your elder. It is nice and good to ask your elder and send pictures and say, is this okay? Is this appropriate? Do you like this too? Etc. etc. Just be aware that soperas are to the taste of the individual. So even if I may not like it, but you like it, then get it, So what I mean is, you might want to put your chung in here, and I might be like, okay, I don't want to put a chung in that, but it's your chung. So if you feel like your chung is going to live comfortable in this one, then you put her in that one. As long as it's appropriate for the orisha, everything else is based on personal likings of your own shrine and how you're going to keep all of your orishas living. And how often they may change. You may have a sopera and the orisha may live in that one sopera your entire lifetime. Or you may have an orisha that switches soperas every couple of years or every couple of months. I don't know. So anyways, yes, remember what I said earlier, that the best places, in my opinion, to go soperas hunting for the best prices is always going to be garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, antique stores, and online. Okay, so definitely keep in mind all of those things when you're looking for soperas. Always ask your elder too if you need help. If you go to the botanica and you find a sopera in the botanica that you like, I'm not talking against botanica, sometimes they're just a little bit overpriced, or everything is just mass produced, and I go for different styles of soperas. But anyways, if you go to a botanica and you find one too that you like, the same thing applies. You're gonna go look for the color, see the style, and make sure that you like the pricing too. Anyways, remember to get my book, Expansion of the Bodum. You can get it on Amazon, and remember also to look up my Etsy store, Sweet Oni Designs, on Etsy. Okay, my first book is out, my second book will be coming out soon, but Expansion of the Bodum, get yourself a copy and let me know, because there's tons of things in here that we can talk about. So with that being said, remember all the things I have said. I hope you guys like this video. Look at my beautiful jewelry. I hope you enjoy it. If you want custom made jewelry by me, eleques, mazos, and things like that, you can also hit me up, and I will be delighted to be it for you. Thank you guys so much for watching me, and I will see you in another episode soon, okay? Ashe, ashe, ashe to. Bye, everybody.